Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Espresso Hour. I'm Ryan, and we are going to deep dive in this Espresso Hour on the back end of my YouTube studio for the last 7 days since the last episode. So, just so for reference, this is the Espresso Hour. This is where I kind of discuss my journey more so in detail, and I'm sure a lot of people share their analytics and their back end. But the goal of this journey is revitalizing my YouTube channel, the Elev8 project. For those of you that are just joining, I launched the Elev8 project way back, and I want to say 2019, 2020, and had a really good start. It was during the pandemic, so there is that to think about as well, where people were kind of switching from TV to YouTube and etc. And also working from home. And that was a challenge for a lot of people. And I really came out with just kind of discussing how to elevate your online presence through Microsoft Teams and WebEx and those type of platforms, Zoom, etc. And it really just transformed into a gear guide channel and really got into cameras and videography and podcasts, etc. And then it actually gave birth to a videography company and put YouTube on pause. And so now in 2025, there's a lot of different changes. YouTube has changed, and I found that yes, there is a lot of opportunities when it comes to YouTube and when it comes to the digital space. And no, I'm still going to continue doing the things that I'm doing. And I had a couple choices: either A, start my channel from scratch, or start a new channel, or revitalize the one that I have. And there are some advantages and disadvantages just depending on the YouTube algorithm, etc. And so going through my journey, I kind of discuss really on the back end what has worked this week and versus week over week, and things that have been a challenge, and seeing what the action plan is for the coming week or what's coming up in the next couple months as I kind of share the projects that I'm working on. So I think it's time to take a look at the back end. Now, if you're interested in that journey, by the way, please subscribe. You know, we have a lot of content, past content and current content, camera gear, content creation, etc. If you want to be a part of that journey, you know what to do. Okay, so let's switch to my back end. And so here is my analytics. This is where I have the overview. I've changed here on the top right. Now, if you have your YouTube channel, and most likely by default will have the last 28 days. I'm just showing the last 7 days, just a week over week. And we've had some really great traction. So for the views on the videos that we've created and also past videos, we're up 16% in the last 7 days. So that's really huge. And I want to share what has changed or what has been working. And we have 1,500 views. The watch hours is kind of really what we've been focusing on. And so watch hours is up 35% for the past 7 days. And we've gained 7 subscribers, so 600% more than the last 7 days. So this is really exciting. It looks like the revitalization plan and strategy is working. The question, is it working effectively? So when we take a look at the video releases, the goal for video release is 1 Elev8 project podcast video release, as well as 1 video specific to the channel, either in content creation and camera gear, and a live stream where I'm just kind of talking about my back end and seeing what's working and what's not working. So on November 3rd, I did release a video, and it was the best monitor mount for your camera, and it was published and released, and we got some good, looks like kind of the same. We went up a little bit from our norm, and what we had a little decline, but the real spike is when we released the Elevate Project podcast video. And so that's really nice to see that that got a lot of traction and people were interested in that as well. So this is the live stream. So just kind of to be clear, this is the live stream. This is just really talking about the analytics. The Elevate Project podcast is just talking about the journey, the strategies that I'm in taking, and really kind of really dialed in and focused on that as well. So if you're interested in that, there's the Elevate Project podcast. I think in this episode, we were talking about building systems, repeatable things that you can do, especially if you're starting as a YouTube creator, on what should I do? Should I sporadically just create videos whenever I want? Or is this something that I want to do? And building systems in this video is what I was talking about, what I actually did in 2020, 2021, and kind of continued my journey as I revitalize and get back. And what was really important is creating systems. So I'm glad that that created some traction. Now, with that being said, here we can see the live stream hasn't shown up, which is kind of funny. I always kind of take a look at this week after week, and there's three videos that release on my channel, because once the live stream is over, it typically shows up as a video. Now, when we scroll down, this is the content that has been gaining traction in the last 7 days. So here is a shorts. Now the shorts doesn't go towards my goal for watch hours. It's on kind of a separate thing. However, it's been gaining 617 views, and it does really well. It is the Apple MagSafe charger. It's got an unboxing and just showing what you get. And here, glad to see this was in second, which is my newer content. So this is the Elevate Project podcast, episode 4, building systems, repeatable YouTube workflows, and tools for consistent content. And third is the video that I release. So again, it's nice to see when it comes to the videos on the channel that my newer content is gaining traction and hopefully gaining, as we can see with the increase in subscribers, newer viewers, and hopefully connecting and watching some of my older videos. Because one of the reasons why I chose to revitalize the channel is because the content that I'm creating is the same. So really bridging the current viewers and newer viewers made more sense versus creating a new channel and moving some of those current viewers over and newer viewers. And yeah, it's nice to see that the newer content is gaining traction. So that's definitely working. And then in fourth, this is some older content, which is okay, is the Apple Magic Trackpad, still getting a lot of views for the week, for the last 7 days. And this one here, so this is interesting. This DJI gimbal video, which is a video that I did a couple of years ago, is still gaining traction today, which is the beautiful thing about YouTube. A lot of the content that you create that's been helping people is definitely one of the pieces, which is great to see, that people are still watching today. So it's still helping people, you know, especially when it comes to things that you don't have to get a new gimbal every single year or a new piece of tech every single year. That even today, buying things used are still being able to get value out of the content that I created a long time ago. This here as well is an older video. It's a featured video on my YouTube channel. Well, used to be. I'll talk about the changes that I made to my homepage, which is one of the difference for the last 7 days, is SD cards, especially for if you're creating content as a YouTuber. Hold on one sec. I'm just going to pause here. Okay, so the Sony FX30, which is nice. A lot of people have been using this and suggesting this for YouTube. I definitely love the Sony FX30. However, for a beginner, it can be a little bit overwhelming, especially on most cameras will have one type of recording medium like SD card. And then with the FX30, just because of the capabilities of 4K 120 and etc., there's a couple different options. And there's two SD card slots where some beginner cameras only have one slot. So it's a great video, and I'm glad that it's still gaining traction. I spent a lot of time on that video to create it and to get as detailed as possible. So I'm really happy that it's still getting views. The other video I made a couple weeks ago was the Insta360 Go Ultra review. And again, gaining some traction. It's in the top 10 for the last 7 days. And I will talk about the Insta360 Go Ultra in a little bit when I talk about the action plan and moving forward and what are my plans for the next coming week. And then here, I actually redid or updated the video that is still gaining traction, how to balance and calibrate the DJI R3 Mini, the RS3 Mini. And the reason why is there was a lot of comments on the original video just being a little bit too dark. The instruction was good, was what I was getting from the feedback, except for people that are visual and want to see things a little bit more in detail, made it more difficult for the viewer to see what I was actually doing. So I'm glad that's still gaining traction. The original video is still doing better, which is okay. The view duration is roughly the same as well. So I'm glad that the newer video and updated video, and I'm also going to, again, look at future, maybe not next week. However, one of the project lists that I have to record and release will be on another gimbal, which is not the newest gimbal, but it is another gimbal that I use quite regularly and I trust and I have confidence in, which is just the big brother to the Mini, which is the DJI RS3. The Rodecaster Pro zoom, which is nice to see. I love the Rodecaster Pro. I'm using the Rodecaster Duo right now for my desk and for YouTube. The Rodecaster Pro is something that I still use in my professional work, in my videography business, when I need to use, especially when I need more than 2 mics. The Rodecaster Duo, as the name persists, is that it really only has the capability of 2 mics. Technically, it has more using wireless mics if you wanted to go that route, which is nice that it will connect with the Duo. However, when I'm out in field, and especially in a podcast situation, I'm videoing a podcast and there's 4 guests, the Rodecaster Pro is been clutch and I still use today in 2025. And then here, this is my top 10 list. The Logitech 4K Pro webcam for Zoom working from home is still gaining traction for the last 7 days. So nice to see. Now, one of the goals to revitalizing the channel is to get remonetized. So the channel did get demonetized earlier this year, and specifically because there has been new eligibility requirements to be monetized through YouTube, Google AdSense. And if we go quickly, we'll go to the earn side, and I can share this with you, is on your journey eligibility. So there's the first one, which is you need 500 subscribers and 3 video uploads in the last 90 days. I think that's key, especially if you're keeping this consistent and maybe for either extra income or creating this as a business. YouTube wants to ensure that you're still creating content, especially for viewers that like your content and want to see more. And when you're not uploading, could be something that be, I wouldn't say negative, but then that viewer has to find something else. And then it's plus the following. So either 3,000 watch hours or 3 million short views. So I think that is, again, when you take a look here, I have the subscribers, got 2,744 subscribers. I've uploaded 3 videos. However, it's the watch hours, which is, I need to get the minimum here to have the ability to have supers, which is great. These are some thank yous that the audience can give you, kind of quote unquote like a tip just for the value and the knowledge and entertainment, depending on what you're doing. Gives you options for shopping as well to connect an online store. And then here is where I was at in the beginning of the year, or I didn't say the beginning, it's the end of last year, is the 4,000 watch hours. So in this revitalization, when you go back to analytics, this is kind of the key thing I'm looking at for growth. Again, we're going to look at the last 7 days, is the watch time hours. So within this revitalization, it looks like we are trending really well, getting some watch hours. Again, that spike for the Elevate Project podcast, which, I'll talk about a little bit later, but it's nice to see YouTube integrating podcasts into the main channel, giving you that flexibility, live streams onto your main channel, where it would be YouTube strategy from a lot of people to have separate channels for each. And so during this revitalization, the reason why I'm keeping everything on one channel is, again, looking at YouTube, they've kind of really defined, if you're creating the same content, keep it on the same channel. If it's new content or different ideas or different themes or different niches, definitely create a new channel. So for instance, we're talking about content creation, and then even the Elevate project is the journey of the channel. And then the channel is giving gear guides for starting content creation for YouTubers, someone getting into it, some strategies, etc. It's kind of still under the same theme, where let's say, hey, I'm doing live streams and I'm talking about fitness, or I'm talking about the politics and what's going on in the news today. It makes sense that should be a separate channel. And same thing with the podcast. Again, with the podcast itself, if you're doing topics, again, on cycling, which I do have a separate channel on cycling, it doesn't make sense to have that podcast on this channel if it's a completely different topic or a completely different theme. So I like that, and we'll see. It's the goal. However, does it really make sense? Is it impactful? And I'll talk about that in a little bit. And then we can take a look at subscribers. So this is kind of really nice to see a big jump. So something to think about when you're starting your YouTube channel is you're going to get a lot of people subscribe and you're going to get a lot of people unsubscribe. And that's okay, because you want to target and people that want to watch your content and continue to watch your content. And subscribers do matter. Followers do matter. When it comes to the algorithm and when it comes to YouTube, the cool thing is that even if they don't subscribe and they watch your content is still going to show up in your feed. It's just how they engage with your content. So is it as important? Maybe not, in my position where I'm looking for watch hours. However, if you are looking to increase your subscriber count to get to that minimum 1,000, I think it's still important to talk about hitting that subscribe button, follow for more, hit the bell button, just to a reminder, a conscious reminder, and hopefully come into a subconscious reminder as they interact with your content. So these are the three categories. If we go to content, now we can kind of take a look at, what like, new viewers versus regular viewers. So as we can see, it's very apparent as I revitalize the channel is a lot of the views in the last 7 days are from new viewers. And then regular viewers, so viewers that have engaged in my content before revitalizing the channel, I'm not getting that many. So it's going to be one of those things where I'm going to be taking a look at my older content as well, taking a look at the new content, and making sure that they mesh well, or that they chain well, or they link well for my regular viewers. Subscribers, again, we had 8 new subscribers in the last 7 days, and we did have 1 unfollow. That could have been a newer subscriber or a subscriber in the past that came back and was watching the content and may not be connecting in the same way, which is okay. And again, we take a look at views, and which is crazy to me because I don't have that many shorts on my channel, and the shorts is still getting it's 43.3%. And my focus for revitalization is focusing on videos. Long form and live stream is my focus. And so it's nice to see that 53.7% on the videos. I'll probably move into shorts a little bit later on as we get traction and live streams. Because I've been doing a lot of live streams, specifically on this topic of deep diving in my analytics, I will be doing more live streams just on the things that I'm reacting to, things that I may have just purchased, maybe some news that's related to tech and content creation. Would love to do more live streams, and it's just more sort of timing, when in the morning or in the afternoon or in the evening. Definitely I live streams has been a goal of mine to do more of, especially with lifestyle, doing doing a 9 to 5, and also being an entrepreneur and doing YouTube and having a family and all these things. When you're doing videos, the timing and editing and all that, it takes up. Doing one video versus doing one live stream. During a live stream, you set an hour aside, an hour and a half maybe, and then you're done. You don't have to worry about it. Where there's always the pre-prep, the planning, the execution, the editing, and checking your titles, checking your thumbnail, and all those type of things. So I would like to see a more increase in live stream views. So very excited for that in the future. I think it is to be a little bit more consistent outside of this live stream. So again, something that I'll be working on in the next 7 days, I think we can start talking about that, is for videos. I'll be doing some more follow-up videos on the Insta360 Go Ultra, and looking to review the Insta360 X5 360-degree camera in relation to action cams, and also just creating content. Also be looking at the Stream Deck follow-up, Stream Deck pedal, and also the gimbal that I talked about as well is the RS3, the big brother to the RS3 Mini. No need for me to upgrade to the newest and greatest gimbal today for the video work that I'm doing. And what are some other things that I have in my brainstorm? Oh, the FX30. So there's a couple cameras that I use specifically for content creation on the channel versus my videography business. is my FX30. It's just so versatile. It is lighter when you think about the lenses versus full frame cameras. So we'll be talking about the FX30 and kind of an update to that in 2025. That's coming up, as well as my A7 IV. So the A7 IV is actually what I'm using now. And again, if you know cameras, those two models are both made by Sony. Actually, all my cameras that I have for my videography business is using Sony. So I do have a Sony FX3, I have the A7 IV, and I have the Sony FX30. Again, nothing new that I have to add to my arsenal, and I think that's really important to talk about. So that's why I'm going to be sharing the A7 IV in 2025 and beyond, the Sony FX30 for 2025 and beyond, as we're living in 4K. I mean, a lot of the other cameras that were great even 5 years ago or 2 or 3 years ago were only 1080 capable, and now where 4K was a premium, and now, oh my goodness, 4K is the standard. And I'm sure, yes, there's going to be 8K. Even the Insta360 X5 that I'm going to be reviewing, it's 8K, quote unquote, because it's recording 360 degrees. But when Sony comes out with their new, let's say A7 V or A7S series for 2026 and beyond, and then maybe FX3 or FX4, there might be that 6K or 8K capability. However, 4K is the standard. So buying or purchasing used or older cameras that have been around that are still selling today may still be worth it for you to just create beautiful content and having a beautiful image. So, okay, we're still in this screen here. So published content, obviously I had 2 videos and 1 live stream for the next 7 days. That is still the goal, is to create 2 videos, 1 video content for the channel, either content creation, camera gear, etc. Or sorry, gear guides or gear reviews. So watch out for that. And then this live stream. So I think my goal is to probably try to do 1 more live stream, something a little bit more spontaneous that I'm thinking about during the week. So watch out for that. This one's going to be typically scheduled for Saturday morning. Every morning, I want to stay committed to this one and how we're doing it. I think it's important for me to be accountable for my journey and understand that creating videos, yes, 1 video can be viral. My real goal is to still create videos that create impact, that help people, that are valuable to people and my audience. And what a good video looks like is not me to determine. It's you, the audience, the people watching my videos to really decide, is what I'm creating good quality? So it's important to take a look at numbers and analytics and planning and adjusting and adapting. And so it's nice to see that the Elev8 Project podcast is something that people want to watch. So, and making sure that I have consistent content for that. And live streams, again, low traction. So it looks like we need to maybe adapt a little bit on the live stream content. But when we take a look at viewers across formats, video only, watching both. So we are getting some traction that are watching both shorts as well as oh, I see, video live and short live, watching both. So this hasn't been an analytic that I've been kind of looking at. However, I did find I was getting a lot more viewership when I went live on my iPhone in vertical format. So I think that's because the live stream on vertical format are going in the shorts feed. And when it's going on the shorts feed, just because we are definitely there is a lot of amount of people that just like watching Instagram Reels and YouTube Shorts, and it's great that YouTube's given the ability to do that. And there's also a large group of viewers that are going to long form and watching YouTube on their television. So I'm going to play around, and I think maybe the spontaneous live streams will be vertical and kind of see how that looks, as well as continue doing this weekly. All right, going down here, impressions. So I had 37.2 thousand impressions, 1.9% click-through rate. I think that click-through rate is a little low, and I think that's going to attribute to title and thumbnail. So that's something that I'm going to be looking at, not just for the videos I'm releasing, but looking at my older content and see if I can change those thumbnails to make a difference. Just because you have really great content, there's just so many videos available to watch that could be similar or the same. And if yours is better and you don't have an engaging title like other videos or an attractive thumbnail for them to click on, the audience or your ideal audience won't be able to watch it. So it's something that is on my mind that I definitely want to improve. And I think that's where AI is going to really come in for me, and A/B testing, which I've in the past, when I started in 2020, I actually never did A/B testing for my thumbnails. Now, for A/B testing, if you don't know what that means, it's just YouTube gives you the ability to run two types of thumbnails to run and put in people's feeds and get data on what people click on. And of course, based on the two thumbnails, whatever is doing better, then you can solidify as your main thumbnail. And so I'm doing that with one of my videos. It's still running. I think the big problem for me, for it to run, it has to have enough impressions and enough click-through rate before it can determine a winner between the two. So that's why I only have it on one video, but it's something that I'm looking at. And my thumbnail creator of choice right now is CANVA. They have a lot of templates there, and it's easy to navigate and create and change things and add photos and whatnot. And I will take that from CANVA, and sometimes I'll put it on my iPad just to add some hand-free design to it as well with the Apple Pencil, just to create some uniqueness to the thumbnail. Views from impressions. So out of 37,000, 1.9% click-through rate. My average view duration is 2 minutes and 10 seconds. I think that's okay. I would love to see that increase, especially because I have a lot of long videos in regards to, let's say, the video podcast. And then definitely have shorter videos, but longer than shorts that are like 3 to 5 minutes long. So again, the goal for the revitalization is to capitalize on longer content and be genuine, just like this live stream. I don't have anything scripted. I know this is what I'm going to be looking at. This is what I'm going to review. I have, quote unquote, not so much scripted in my other videos. However, I'm trying to share more so my honest opinion, and not being a reviewer where I'm just giving specs and this is why it should be good. Trying to give more reviews of what my thoughts are and what I think is working, and that could be, you know, human error that I'm maybe not able to make the quality better or whatnot. But if it fits my needs and it does what it needs to do, I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Sometimes you don't need to go in depth into a 45-minute video on a monitor mount. If it does the job, great. If you're looking for the same thing, awesome. And hopefully this helps you out versus how many different monitor mounts that are out there. So for viewers, so this is interesting. I am focusing on a little bit of SEO. So YouTube search is really important, which obviously is 53% of our views. And of course, the browse features. So something I haven't talked about, but when I'm creating the videos, I try to make sure that I have an end screen, and also browse features is kind of nice. That means YouTube is really pushing, I shouldn't say pushing, pulling the videos in front of the right people. And then external. So these are things where you have links. Let's say you share it on Facebook or Pinterest or Instagram or something like that. So external is getting 8.6. Other pages and others. Okay, audience. Ooh. Okay, how long have we been on this stream so far? I don't want to bore anyone, so we're gonna go quickly through the monthly audience. 3,700 people. Again, released a video November 3rd, November 6th. So I gave some breathing room. So this is one of the things that I've been thinking about as well, because I'm able to create this content ahead of time, some batch recording and releasing them not every single day, but releasing them with some breathing room in between for people to watch the first release, and if people are interested to watch the second release. New reviewers, 96.5. So again, we know that newer viewers are watching versus the regular viewers. Popular with different audiences. So it's nice. So it looks like we're getting some traction with the podcast. And here, videos growing your audience. So newer viewers who returned. We have some low. So again, it's kind of reviewing older content and newer content to make sure that that they connect, that there is a chain, a link between the two. I think is really important, because if you really like one video, your expectation as a viewer, the next video is interesting to that same person. All right, and then we can take a look at trends. So trends, which is kind of nice. So let's get out of this and let's get back to, kind of focus. So that is the back end analytics for the last 7 days. I'm really super excited for the next 7 days as well. Thank you so much if you're a regular viewer, or if you're a newer viewer and you're looking at the rest of my content. I appreciate you, and hopefully you're finding value in the content that I'm creating. So in the coming weeks, you'll see a video. It will be a follow-up video for the Insta360 Go Ultra, specifically using an external mic. Did have a question on my review video about external mics, and the two mics that I'm going to be testing it with is the original DJI mic, so wireless mics, and the Rode Wireless Pro. Those are the two mics that I use in my videography business. The DJI mic is a little bit more flexible. I will use that for YouTube videos as well. My Rode Wireless Pro. I even have like this Interview Go stand that I use as well, which really work with my clients, and they love it. So that is something to see, to connect it with the Insta360 Go Ultra. Projects that I'm working on is Stream Deck things as well. I shouldn't say Stream Deck things. This is the 15. So I have a Stream Deck 15 button Stream Deck, and recently just got the Stream Deck pedal. So those are the two things that I'm using and working on to create some content for those that are wanting to live stream, and maybe that's your main thing for your channel as you start on YouTube. I've been loving it so far. Just to give you a quick update, the Stream Deck is what I'm using to switch my screen. So when I'm going from here to my shared screen, when I go to my start screen, and when I'm surfing the web and I still want me in the video, and then of course my main shot. So the Stream Deck is not just for live streaming. I do use it as my shortcuts to my most used apps, for my smart home as well. It's been great. So for my lights, so I go to my lights, you know, I kind of can change the feel and the theme. And then, you know, typically for this live stream, I'll use just regular lighting. However, I use it right from the Stream Deck. The pedal is going to be something that's going to be really cool. I'm not using it right now. However, with live streaming, sometimes you don't want to move your hands and just control the stream, moving the screens and actions just right from underneath your desk, which is going to be really cool. So I am working on that. There are Insta360 X5. That is another camera view that I'm working on. So if you're interested, I do have another channel that I've been working with a friend of mine. It's nothing crazy. We haven't fully invested time in it. It started with a podcast. So if you're into cycling, is the Last Wheel Cycling. We have 10 episodes for our first season for a podcast. It's basically a cycling channel talking about bikes and riding and cycling from someone that's brand new, which is me. I've only been cycling for a year, and my friend that's been cycling for 15, 20 years. And so it's a good banter back and forth of perspective and humbling experiences at times. And there is some shorts that we have on there, which have been created with the Insta360 Go Ultra and the Insta360 X5. So parts of my review is using them as action cams, as content for shorts and for YouTube videos. So that is a channel if you're interested. If you love cycling, check it out, Last Wheel Cycling. So that is taking a break for now. We're going to start season 2, I believe, in January, probably in the new year, just to start off 2026. A couple of reasons. You know, obviously, I'm doing a lot of different projects, especially this project, the Elev8 project, the regular 95, where we go to the busiest time of the season, and my videography business as well. And there isn't a lot of opportunities for me to cycle with the weather because the weather is not as great. So that is something also holding me back a little bit. So those are the projects. I think in this next 7 days, I'm still committed to hitting this coming week with one video release and a video podcast release, and then scheduled for a live stream for next Saturday. And the reason why that's important for me to tell you is that as life gets busy and, you know, focusing on what I'm capable of doing consistently, that from a mindset perspective and from a health perspective and a life perspective, that I mentioned, I think in my first episode, that if I do miss a live stream or I miss a video or I miss a podcast episode, that it's okay. And this coming week, I don't have any roadblocks, should be clear. And hopefully you'll enjoy the content that'll be coming up. So I think that is it for the Espresso Hour, the Elev8 Project Espresso Hour. Appreciate you for those that have jumped in and out. And if you found value in this content, really appreciate you. You know what to do. And if there is some thoughts or there are things that you want to hear on the next stream or content that you're looking for me to create, please let me know in the comments below. But until next time, thank you so much, and we'll catch you in the next one.